Yeah.
Hi, my name's Tiarna Lewis and my text type is imaginative text, so narrative text, stuff like that. So we'll start with, All right. Good morning, everybody. So today we are learning about our narrative text, and to start off, we'll just do a hangman so you guys can guess what this word is. All right. Start with a, yeah. All right. Can I get some hands of the first letter? Yes, Liam?
A.
Good guess. All right, Amber?
A.
Maddie?
S.
S. No S. Put that down there. Amber?
R.
Ah, yes. Yep.
H.
Liam? H. No H. Anyone else can guess any letters? We're getting close to it. They can see a couple like what the starting is. Amber?
W.
W? No W. Let's try some other vowels. Yes, Maddie?
T.
T?
Yeah.
If you know it, then maybe keep your, just be quiet until everyone else may get it. Anyone else have any other letters that they want to guess?
I think you missed a T.
Yeah, you did at the end.
Oh, I did. Thank you for picking that up. All right, Liam?
X.
X. Oh, good job. Now, what's that last word that we found? Can you say it together?
Text.
Text, that's right. Now we're trying to find the first word, and that the first word is what we're basing our 4 lessons on this month or this unit. Can anyone guess what the next couple letters are?
Is it a narrative text?
Yes, it is, Amber. A narrative text. Does anyone know what a narrative text is? Does anyone have any ideas? Can everyone see the board? Yeah, okay. But does anyone know what a narrative text is? Anyone have a guess?
Is it like a story?
It is like a story. So a narrative text is actually split up into 4 different parts, and we're going to learn about those 4 different parts throughout the time that I'm going to be teaching this. We're just going to rub this out really quick. Remember that we're learning about narrative text, so I'll put it up the top. So a narrative text is actually split up into 4 parts. The 4 parts are, the first one is sizzling start, or the orientation. So I'll just put orientation up here. And does anyone know what orientation might be? If you think about reading a narrative text or like a story or any of the stories that we've read in class, what is an orientation? It normally starts at the beginning of a story. And have any guesses of what it might be?
So, once upon a time.
Very close, actually. An orientation is actually setting the theme and setting the characters and setting the setting of it, so the environment where the story is based in, for the story to come. So people, the readers, like you guys and us, so we know what to expect when the story comes. So an orientation, it sets up the setting. And what's the setting? So what's the setting?
Where?
What did I just say?
Like the place.
Yes, the place. And the characters. What was the character? What are the characters? Like, what does that mean? Like I said before. So it's the people in the story that are basing this story on, okay?
They're the main
And the second
characters.
part, does everyone understand that part? The first part, does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. And the second part is the complication. So a narrative story cannot really be a story or a narrative story without a complication. So it's kind of the point of the story. So it's something that goes wrong or something that is problematic. So it's the problem that bases the whole story around to solve the problem and to help the characters build a relationship, or it aims for any morals or any Christian values that we focus on. So a complication, what we said, is a problem that is the base of the story. Can everyone see that? Yeah. So what is the complication? Can someone say it back to me, what they just said? What I just learned?
It's the problem that occurs in the story.
Yes, that's right, Liam. Thank you. And then the third one are the events. And this one might be a little bit tricky because in most stories there's more than one event, because if there's just one event, then it might be a little bit boring for the reader to listen to. So an event can be more than one, and it is based to solve the problem. So to solve the problem, they have to have events. So we're going to be reading a couple of stories in the next couple of lessons about all the different all the different events that may happen in the different stories. So they are designed to solve the problem. And what happens if there's just one event? It's okay if there's just one, but what does the reader want more?
More events, more content.
Exactly. So more than one event. So later on, we're going to be setting expectations and goals for you guys, because you're going to be making your own text in a couple of weeks, okay? So we need to actually focus on all the different structure of this. And there's one more that has to come, which is kind of the wrap up of it. But when you make your own text, you can just do one event because it is a short one. But if it's like a long one, like an author or a writer actually writes it, they would have more than one. But the last and the fourth structure or part of a narrative text is the resolution. It's a big word. So can anyone guess what a resolution is?
I guess the resolution would be how they ended up solving the problem or how they ended up wrapping up the problem sort of thing.
That's right. So basically, after all the events and after their attempts to solve the problem, there's an overall resolution that solves the problem. So it's solving the problem. And these are the 4 parts that we need to focus on for a narrative text. So these are the 4 parts that we need to have in order to actually make a narrative text and make it right. So I'm going to read a book, and it is called Tiddalik, the Greedy Frog there's some bunch of values in this book that I'm going to share with you, and sometimes they're a bit bad, and we're not supposed to be showing much greed and much anger or anything, but we need to show what should we do in this situation. Imagine if we were Tiddalik, or imagine if we were people that are around Tiddalik, and see like what they should have done before. So does everyone have, so I'll pass around these worksheets. Can everyone get these up and just look at it for a second? Right, if everyone has it up, then there are different parts of this worksheet that I want you to write about this story. So we're first going to read the story. So I don't want you working on it without finishing the story off, okay? And then after we finish the story, we can work on it together, or you can work on it by yourself to complete this worksheet outlining the different parts of the story. So you'll be seeing the different characters that are in the story and the setting that in the story, and what does that fall under? What part of a narrative text does that fall under?
Orientation.
Orientation, that's right. And then the next one is the complication and problem. So the complication and problem, you'll know when it happens because it's something that is a point of the story. And then afterwards, there's 3 events in this story. So there's 3 ones in this story that I'm going to read. And I gave you some little hints down the bottom, okay, with the different animals there. And then the last one is a resolution, okay? And then right down the bottom, you know how I told you that you guys are going to do an independent writing at the end? There's a little space for you to put some words that you might want to use for your text. If you see any words, or if you see any ways that they speak in the story that you want to use for yours, then you may use it. You just put your ideas down there, okay? Awesome. So everyone looking up at me, and we're going to start reading this book, okay? All right. There's not many pictures, just like little ones, because it is based on a Dreamtime story. Does anyone know what a Dreamtime story is? So we learned about it.
Aboriginal stories.
The
Aboriginal stories.
Yes, that's right. So this is a Dreamtime story. So there's a bunch of places and animals that are based in a Dreamtime story. Okay. Now, Tiddalik, the greedy frog. It was cold in the Kimberley Plateau, but in his burrow on the bank of the Billabong, Tiddalik, the frog, kept warm and dry. He slept right through the winter until he was woken up by the warmth of the spring sun. While he'd been asleep, Tiddalik hadn't eaten anything to drink, but as soon as he woke, he felt thirsty. He hopped up out of his burrow and looked at the Billabong, because there had been a drought. There is not much water in it. Now, Tiddalik was a selfish fellow. He thought of his own needs and not of the needs of his fellow animals. That wasn't very nice, is it? I'd better drink as much as I can, as fast as I can, he said to himself, because I reckon that before long there may be no water left in the Billabong. So he drank and drank and drank. And when he drank all the water in the Billabong, he hopped across the nearby waterholes and drank all the water in them. Then he lay down under the gum tree, patted his big fat stomach, and was full of water, but was happy. But the other animals were not very happy. They gathered around the gum tree and said, "Tiddalik has stolen our water," Possum said sadly. "My children are crying because they have nothing to drink." Kangaroo leaped up and down, waving his little arms in the air and thumping his tail on the sand. "Give us back our water," he shouted. But one of the elders, a wise old wombat, did his best to calm things down. "I'll have a word with Tiddalik," he said. He sat beside the frog in the shade of the gum tree and said, "Brother," he said, "many of us are very thirsty. We need to drink. Will you please let us have some of your water?" Tiddalik shook his head. Wombat tried again. "Brother Frog," he said, It was Bame's wish that all creatures live together in harmony, especially in times of need. So please open your mouth and let us have some water. And Bame, I think, is the Dreamtime god or something that they want to please, okay? Tiddalik shook his head and he kept his mouth firmly shut. Wombat went sadly into the other animals. They all felt that Tiddalik was behaving badly. Perhaps Kookaburra suggested, we could make him laugh. Then his mouth might open and the water will come pouring out of it. They all agreed to give it a try. So first, Kangaroo did a juggling act. He threw some stones high into the air and caught them one after the other. Then he pretended to drop one, rolled on his back and balanced all the stones on his feet. All the animals laughed and cheered, but Tiddalik just sat and stared at him. Then Emu did a dance. She flapped her short little wings and hopped up and down on her big long legs. Then she pretended to fall over and did the same dance upside down. All the animals laughed and cheered, but Tiddalik just sat and stared at her. Possum was next to try. He climbed high into the gum tree. He leaped from branch to branch like an acrobat, but then pretended to miss a branch that he was leaping towards. But at the last moment, he caught it with his tail. All the animals laughed and cheered, but Tiddalik just stared at him. The animals couldn't think of anything to do. Then something unexpectedly happened. A very small eel came crawling out of the billabong. Now, eels can't live long without water, and the very small eel was very angry with Tiddalik. He started shouting at him. However, no one could understand eel language, and this made very small eel even more angry. He got so angry that he changed color and started to glow. Then he put his tail into his mouth and turned himself into a hoop and rolling and rolling around the gum tree, shouting things that didn't sound very polite. At first, Tiddalik just stared at the very small eel. Then he started to giggle. He tried hard to control himself, but he couldn't. His giggle turned into a laugh and his mouth opened and water came pouring out. And once the water had started to flow, there was no stopping it. It flowed on and on and on. Tiddalik's stomach came smaller and smaller. Soon the billabong and the waterholes once again was full of water, and the animals once again had enough to drink. Now, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of values in that story that some that aren't very nice. Like, let's list some things that the animals that weren't very nice. Let's start with Tiddalik. What did he do that wasn't very nice to the other animals?
He drank all
their
stole all the water, drank all their water.
Stole all the water. Now, what about the eel right at the end? What did he do that wasn't very nice? Does anyone remember? What did he do that wasn't very nice? He like stomped around and was really angry at everyone. Should he have done that? He should have just gone up and nicely asked. But I know that may not have happened because he may not have spilled out the water. But it wasn't very nice of him to be angry like that. But I want you guys to pick up your worksheets and I want you to fill them in. Remember to put your name in and to fill in the different characters, the setting, the complication, and the different event and the resolution, okay? If you have any questions, just raise your hand and I'll come over to you, okay? Or Hey, did you time it, Amber? Because my timer stopped working.
No, I didn't start it, sorry.
Oh, good. It just stopped randomly.
I think we started about 9:16ish.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that though.
When you're done, put your hands on your head so I know. Good job, Amber. Now I want you to look at the different parts of the story, and after this, we're not going to do what we initially planned to do, a drama, but I want you to explain a part of the story that I'm going to give you. So I want you to explain the events, okay, to the rest of the class. When everyone is done, I want you to explain the event, okay? What happened in the story, so you know.
So do I just explain what I've written down?
Yeah, so explain what the story's about. So, or not the story, like what happened in the, like what events happened in the story. But are the other ones, Liam and Maddie, are you finished?
Yeah.
All right. Now I want Amber, I want you to explain the events that happened in the story. I want Liam, I want you to explain the orientation that happened in the story. And I want Maddie, can you explain the complication, okay? And then I'll sum it up with a resolution, okay? Now just look at it for a couple seconds. And then Liam, can you start by explaining what the orientation was?
Yeah, so the orientation, I said the main character was obviously Tiddalik, the greedy frog. And the setting was down by the water bank because he drank all the water. And I would assume because it's dream time, it would be like in the outback, sort of like gum trees, dirt sort of setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good job. Now, Amber?
So the events that happened. So do I do the complication and the events or just the events?
Wait, Maddie, can you do the complication first? Sorry.
Yeah, Tiddalik was greedy and drank up all of the water.
That's right. And what did he show that wasn't very nice? What should have we done instead of what Tiddalik did?
We could have
Yeah.
shared it all together.
We could have shared it. Exactly. Now, Amber, I want you to finish it off with the events.
So they decided that they need to make Tiddalik laugh so that all the water would come back up. So first event was with Kangaroo trying to use the stones to make him laugh, and then Emu tried to make him laugh, and then Possum tried to make him laugh.
Exactly. Good job. And now with the resolution, can everyone say it together? What happened in the resolution? What animal was it that made him spill out his water?
Eel.
The eel, that's right. And so the eel did what? He went around in a circle in his mouth to actually get him to wait. I think it was in his mouth. Yeah, to actually get him to spill out his water because he like, what was he feeling?
Angry.
Angry. He was very angry. Now, good job, guys. And now, does anyone have any words that they want to use in their own story? It's okay if you don't, but if you do, you have some time to do it. All right. Now.
So the words that I would like to use is like he said, so that showing when the characters are talking.
Exactly.
That was very good.
Good job. That's what we want to use in our own stories later on. We'll be focusing on that later, okay? Now, I'm just going to put these words up on the board, and I'll keep them up on the board for like all week and stuff so we can actually look back at them so we remember what they are. So what was the first one? What's the first one about? What's orientation? And what?
Building the like setting and characters and that sort of
Exactly. And what's the next one? The complication. What is that one?
The problem.
The problem. And the events? Maddie?
Just the things that occur during the story.
Yeah. And what about the resolution?
It's the,
Yeah.
how they solve it.
Exactly.
The outcome.
So we're going to focus on those today, and yeah, we were going to reflect on our drama performance, but we just ran out of a little time. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll just stop it.
Thank you.